Interviews can be nerve-wracking at the best of times, so the first thing you want to do is be prepared. Rapport's critical in an interview because impressions count, and rapport is all about first impressions.
First impressions are the biggest thing. When you walk in there, you've got to be able to set the tone straight away.
Well, rapport is one of those things that is hard to get. It is an interview is a very daunting process. It's not natural. You're having to sell yourself. So I guess trying to take the seriousness out of the interview, show your personality, have a bit of a giggle if need be, just let them know the true you.
A lot of employers these days are really looking at your behavioural competencies, so personality types, how you're going to fit into their team environment, their company culture. If you don't have the right personality but you've got all the technical skills, you're probably not going to really last very long.
I can get a lot of the technical side from the resume. It's more about the behavioural, and it's a lot of the time it's about team dynamics. So if you've got the skills, but if you're not going to fit in their team, you're not going to do well, and they're not going to want you there. So how do you behave when this happens? How would you deal with this scenario if it came up? They're the important things that are, you've got the skill, but so do 6 others. So how are you going to differentiate yourself?
Be engaging, show your personality. I know it is a daunting process, and also try and sell yourself. It is an interview. The whole purpose is to sell yourself.
Communicate well, so be clear in your answers, understand the questions that they're asking you, and make sure you're forthcoming in information.
Well, I guess in an interview there is no such thing as a right answer and a wrong answer. It's just basically your experience and how you portray it to a client.
What you need to do in the interview is make sure that you engage with the person you're interviewing with. Make sure that you're prepared so that you've got some answers ready to go that you can pull out with examples.
We know some key achievements that you've had, some key performance indicators that you passed, some challenges you had and something that you implemented to overcome that, and know those stories, but you don't want to have it scripted, because if they ask you a slightly different question and you jump into your scripted answer, it's going to look really fake. So know what the facts are behind it, and when they ask you, just use those facts and adapt the story around it.
They want a sense of your personality. How do you work within a team? Do you work by yourself, or do you thrive off a team environment? And how do you handle the stress and the challenges that come within that type of role?
Look at the website of the company that you're going to meet. Make sure you know where you're going, be there on time. Make sure you know a little bit about the context of why the role's become available.
Why you actually want this role is a huge one that people trip up on.
Relate your CV to the ad. Know where you excel in some areas, know where you perhaps need to work on in relation to that job. If you go in saying that you don't have any weaknesses, it's a little bit far-fetched. If you put a lot of pressure on yourself, or you tend to stress out in some situations when, that can be used as a positive, that you do put pressure on yourself because you do have a strong work ethic and you do strive to succeed and you are results-driven. So think about your weaknesses that you have and try and turn them into a positive.
At Optimum, we talk about contextual communication, and that's tailoring your style to suit the audience. So if you're going for an interview that's a panel interview and you're interviewing with 3 people, you might want to have a different approach than if you're interviewing with just one person.
So at the end of the interview, when a client says to you, do you have any questions for me, to actually show that you're generally interested or that you've actually done your homework, it's a good idea to ask them questions, put the onus on them. What do you look for in a candidate? Why do you think I'd be suitable for this role?
The biggest part is to be prepared, so have what you liked in previous roles, what you didn't like, what you're looking for in your next role.
And why are you the best candidate for the role?
It's really important to build a good rapport with your consultant. They're going to be really working along with you to find the right job for you, not just any job. So be open, let them know what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, what are you looking for in salary. Be upfront with that. Don't negotiate after you've had a job offer, because that's when things will fall apart.
It's in my best interest to make sure that I represent you as effectively as possible to my client base. So I need to know as much as I can about what you've got going on in your job search, what you're really wanting to do in your career, and how I can help.
Basically, we tell you about the client, what they're looking for, culturally what they're looking for, generally how other candidates have performed, so we know what to do and what not to do.
We call that gearing. My job is to prepare you or gear you to make sure that you're ready for the interview.
If you do find the good consultants that really listen to you, really know what you're looking for and what you're about, they can really help you throughout your career. So it's not just at your job search. If you find a good consultant, hold on to them and work with them throughout your career.
We know the clients from start to finish. We know the history, we know what they're looking for, we know generally what kind of questions they're going to ask. So we like your inside gossip into how the interview is going to take place.
Worst things to do in interviews:
Don't ever lie in an interview.
chewing gum,
Answering your phone in an interview.
looking at your watch,
Don't waffle.
overpowering smells, so strong perfume, strong cigarette smells,
Don't oversell yourself.
Don't be negative about your past employer.
not being professionally presented, so facial piercings, purple hair.
Don't be negative about past colleagues. It's not a negative time. You're in there, it's a positive time to go in and sell yourself positively. So just cut anything negative out.
You want to show yourself. Be yourself. You don't want to be a contrived person. You want to be yourself and let that shine through. Because at the end of the day, the company is going to hire you. Yes, they'll hire your skill set, but they'll also hire your creativity and your enthusiasm.